was not a promising guy anywhere in those years.
Are you problematic?
That can be a way, yeah. हो सकता है. At the core of your personality, everyone is curious. You just have to find that part which, like, makes you curious.
I think a lot of engineers would be able to relate. Welcome to another episode of Informal series, and today we have Kaustubh, aka the KK. We don't really shoot like this early in the morning, but thanks for waking me up
You can always count on me.
at the hour when I usually go to bed. So, anyways, let's begin. So,
Yes.
we bring a lot of people from different backgrounds on this podcast. You happen to be another engineer. ठीक है? Kaustubh is an engineer turned into a designer now. So, uh, like uh, like I go through LinkedIn का home feed and then I see बहुत सारे different background के लोग अब design industry में they're making their path, right? और इंजीनियरिंग में भी लोग लाइक पिछले पॉडकास्ट में वी हैड तनिषा के रीजंस डिफरेंट थे टू गेट इनटू डिज़ाइन इंडस्ट्री बट लाइक हाउ डिड यू गेट गॉटन इनटू इंजीनियरिंग ऑन द फर्स्ट प्लेस
So, मेरे में क्या था, like, when I was kid, my grandfather used to subscribe to the magazine of Reader's Digest, and मैं वो बहुत पढ़ता था. And ये बात around 2004 की है, when I was 6 years of age, and पढ़ता था मतलब like they used to have lot of little jokes and all. So तभी टोयोटा की एक competition थी कि how will they, कि जहाँ पे वो लोग बोलते थे कि like children to design a car for the future.
ओके
हाँ. So in that competition, like बच्चे लोग literally blank A4 size पे they used to draw whatever they think future में हो सकता है with crayons. Like those were their target audience. And उनका ये था, and उसमें मैं like all the best entries were used to like publish the magazine all over the world.
Okay.
And so उसमें मैंने बहुत सारे cars देखे थे, like cars which have windmills on them, then cars which also like they are fueled by plants.
Fueled by
So
plants.
हाँ.
Okay.
So ऐसा मतलब लाइक इमेजिनेशन को कोई बाउंड्स नहीं थे.
Wait a second. Like, I'm curious to know how does a car look like जिसमें windmill होता है. We'll try finding a picture and then post it and then add it in the video. And for people who are listening to us on Spotify, जाके AI से generate कर लो and see how it looks like.
या सो उसमें मतलब लाइक सो उसमें अलग क्या था कि सिंस उनका टारगेट ऑडियंस ही मतलब छोटे बच्चे थे, ये बच्चों को लाइक दीज गाइज हैव नो आइडिया अबाउट व्हाट गोज इनटू कार, कि मतलब कार को इंजन चाहिए रहता है, इंजन आगे ही चाहिए पीछे चाहिए लाइक वगैरह ऐसा. दे डिड नॉट सो they were not bounded by technical knowledge. They had like creativity just rule over them. ऐसा. So वैसे टाइम पे like whatever they feel like it, जैसा आइडियाज उन लोग के पास आया वैसा उन लोगों ने आइडियाज से उन लोगों ने कार बनाई. So ये जो फ्रीडम है, फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन जो है, दिस लाइक इंट्रिग मी अ लॉट पहले जाके. एंड तो मैं बोला कि मतलब लाइक मुझे ऐसा बनना है ताकि जो ऐसे कार्स डिज़ाइन कर सके, मतलब हु कैन डू दिस फॉर अ लिविंग एज देयर जॉब, लाइक हर रोज उठ के उनको ये करने का काम रहे ताकि आई ऑल्सो एन्जॉय इट एज वेल. एंड तभी 2004 की बात है, लाइक ऑल द आंसर्स दैट आई गॉट वर लाइक इधर मतलब इंजीनियरिंग करो, बिकॉज इंजीनियरिंग करने के बाद यू बिकम अ लाइक समवन हु कैन एक्चुअली मेक अ कार.
But then तुमने like engineering किया, right?
हाँ.
तो like why you chose design? उसमें भी तो तुम like cars बना सकते थे, right?
हाँ, बट द थिंग वॉज कि एक तो मतलब लाइक आई जस्ट बी ब्लंट, बिकॉज क्या हुआ था, सो मैं बहुत लोगों को पूछा था एंड वो लोग मुझे बोले कि डिज़ाइन इज़ नॉट अ प्रूवन फील्ड तभी. लाइक
Okay.
दिस वॉज बैक व्हेन आई वाज इन प्राइमरी टू सेकेंडरी स्कूल वाले के इसमें. सो अराउंड 2006 7 8 के टाइम पे ये था. तभी डिज़ाइन इतना मतलब एस्टेब्लिश नहीं था. एंड तभी मी एज एन इंडिविजुअल आई डिड नॉट नो कि मतलब डिज़ाइन में कर पाऊंगा या नहीं, बिकॉज एट दैट time we had elementary and intermediate exams, and like I was consistent in C and C in them, so I was not a promising guy anywhere in those years. So it's a big risk कि मतलब like एकदम जो तुम लोग पढ़ रहे हो वो छोड़कर तुम लोग डिजाइनिंग करो.
Okay.
But it was damn sure कि मैं इंजीनियरिंग करूँगा, because like I wanted something to fall back to वैसा. So एक बार वो डिग्री खाते में आ गई, then you can do whatever you want ऐसा, because like the world is your playground. तो वैसा होता था ये.
हाँ.
सो इसके लिए मैंने इंजीनियरिंग किया. सो एक्चुअली ये प्लान मेरे बचपन से ही था कि मतलब लाइक व्हेन आई वाज इन अराउंड 5th स्टैंडर्ड मेरा प्लान था कि मतलब पहले इंजीनियरिंग करने का एंड इंजीनियरिंग के बाद आई डोंट नो मतलब जो भी करना पड़ेगा दैट विल टेक यू टू द जॉब वेयर यू डिजाइन कार्स दैट इज व्हाट आई वांट टू डू
Do you think you
ऐसा
have that creative mindset now?
क्रिएटिव माइंडसेट तो आई कैन नॉट कमेंट बट आई
Okay.
डू हैव एक्सप्लोरेटरी एंड क्यूरियस माइंडसेट
that that all of
हाँ
us like are well aware of. Uh, so he has
या
got a curious brain, and then this bring me to another segment of the conversation कि ये curiosity कितनी important होती है for problem identification on the first place. लोग बोलते हैं कि UXers जो हैं UX researchers and designers वो बहुत ही यूज़र सेंटर्ड मैनर में प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व कर पाते हैं बट what is your take on curiosity as a concept in the process of problem identification?
हाँ ओके सो क्यूरियोसिटी एज अ कंसेप्ट आई विल से थोड़ा इनफॉर्मल वे बिकॉज एज अ लाइक एज माई पर्सनैलिटी आई एम वेरी क्यूरियस कि ये क्यों होता है दिस एंड दैट एंड वगैरह ऐसा सो वो होता है एंड समवेयर आई ऑल्सो फील कि लाइक यू नो आई एम दैट गाय हु फाइंड्स प्रॉब्लम विद एवरीथिंग ऐसा एंड आई ऑल्सो
Or like do you think are you problematic?
दैट कैन बी अ वे या वो हो सकता है बट देन अगेन द बेसिक आई मीन सो उसका मतलब लाइक देर इज ओनली वन वे टू लाइक यू नो शांत होना इज लाइक व्हेन द थिंग्स वर्क आउट फॉर यू सो विद दैट थिंग कि मतलब like, तुम जो भी कर रहे हो इफ दैट इज लाइक सम इफ दैट इज गिविंग यू सम प्रॉब्लम्स यू आइडेंटिफाई कि मतलब ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है एंड व्हाट एल्स कैन यू डू सो हैविंग अ क्यूरियोसिटी ये तो चाहिए क्यूरियोसिटी बट यू शुड ऑल्सो बी केपेबल ऑफ चैनलिंग दैट क्यूरियोसिटी कि मतलब लाइक टुवर्ड्स अ प्रॉब्लम हाउ विल यू चैनल इट ऐसा सो आई से एग्जाम सो लाइक आई गिव एन एग्जाम्पल सो अभी द प्लेस वेर आई वर्क इट रिक्वायर्स कम्यूट इधर बाय ट्रेन या फिर बाय मेट्रो
Okay.
एंड टू गेट द टिकट ऑब्वियसली मतलब आई वॉन्ट स्टैंड इन लाइन बिकॉज अभी एप्स भी आ गए हैं एंड सो द थिंग इज कि मतलब यू कैन एक्चुअली बुक अ टिकट ऑन योर फोन एज वेल सो ऐसा सो ऐसा बहुत बार हुआ है कि लाइक मतलब इधर इफ आई हैव टू स्कैन अ QR कोड मेरा वो पेज लोड नहीं होता है या इफ आई हैव टू पे फॉर अ टिकट वो UPI का बैंक का सर्वर्स डाउन होता है सो दिस इज आई मीन लाइक ये जो है आई नो द प्रॉब्लम कि क्या हो रहा है मतलब मे बी इट इज बिकॉज समथिंग ये बट ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि लाइक देर आर सम प्रॉब्लम्स दैट आर आउट ऑफ मतलब ये जो इश्यूज है ऑब्वियसली द पीपल हु मेक द ऐप दे वुड ऑल्सो नो बट
We make the apps. So
yeah I mean हाँ so I'm talking about the technical वाला aspect
अच्छा.
कि for example if you are not handling with the actual APIs the actual data that is transmitted as a
Okay.
so like see design जो है that will give you the frames that will give you the workflow and all but the thing that like if you tap over here it will take you to that payment gateway that is something that as the designers we don't have that much control of
okay.
so in this case there can also be a case मतलब जो problem जो है वो तुम लोग के डोमेन के बाहर हो सकता है
Okay.
सो ऐसे टाइम पे मतलब यू नो लाइक द क्यूरियोसिटी की मतलब लाइक ऐसा क्यों है इज देयर अ वे दैट इज देयर अ वर्क अराउंड फॉर इट कि मतलब अभी से
Okay, but what if किसी भी इंसान के अंदर curiosity inherited नहीं है?
हाँ
So तब उस केस में क्या करना चाहिए?
if you don't have curiosity then like I mean okay this is a very like weird question because I don't मतलब I've never felt कि like मतलब no one has curiosity
हाँ.
so this thing actually happened to me when I was doing engineering so it's a very good tangent I'll say so क्या हुआ था कि like when I got an engineering when I got a job तभी every day my dad used to like he was happy because I got a job because that was during COVID and तभी उधर jobs नहीं थे
हाँ.
so somewhere I feel कि like he was also conscious कि मतलब like I should do well in the job because अगर job नहीं हुआ if I get fired for some reason that should not be the case so क्या हुआ था कि like every time we used to have dinner या together ऐसा he used to tell me कि अरे आज इन लोगों ने ये किया है इन लोगों ने ये टेक्नोलॉजी एडवांसमेंट की है इसका आर्टिकल ये पढ़ ले उसका आर्टिकल वो पढ़ ले एंड समवेयर आई गॉट टू नो कि आई एम नॉट curious and that was because I have no interest in it
Okay.
so so tabhi I was doing software programming I had my friends who were doing the same thing they had built tons of apps they had their own calculators they had their own chatbots they had their own assistants unka sab ye tha they had big stuffs on GitHub aisa and like my also they used to like be on LinkedIn for like throughout the day कि क्या कौन क्या कर रहा है ऐसा तो तभी आई गॉट टू नो कि मतलब लाइक नहीं मतलब इफ यू गिव मी फोन इन माई हैंड लाइक एंड बोले कि लाइक you like it's only you and phone in a khali room I will not go on LinkedIn obviously So I never saw myself as someone who like be updated on LinkedIn every time.
Okay.
So somewhere I got to know that I have curiosity. Maybe it's not in the right field. So like if I don't care about this field, I will not be curious as up.
Okay.
So
Got it.
somehow I think कि like
Is this when you realize कि design में कुछ करना है?
no, that was a different point. But like what I want to say is at the core of your personality, everyone is curious. You just have to find that part which like makes you curious. That can be anything. I mean, like for example, if you are curious about the way like animals behave, then that can be a niche for you.
Right.
If you are curious as to like I mean even how things work.
So like find your niche
Huh.
and then just go get ahead with it, right?
Yeah, and like eventually you'll come across a topic that will I mean you will have that never ending desire कि मतलब नहीं, I cannot sleep without knowing कि ऐसा क्यों होता है. That's where you will shine. That's your curiosity. So
Okay.
even if you don't have that acumen to do it, curiosity is what will take you to that place. वैसा.
There's another थिंग अबाउट इंजीनियरिंग स्पेशली. मेरा परसेप्शन इंजीनियरिंग को लेके ये है कि इंजीनियरिंग बहुत ज़्यादा प्रोसेस ओरिएंटेड होता है. और बिफोर आई गॉट इन टू डिज़ाइन इंडस्ट्री मुझे लगता था कि डिज़ाइन करने में एक मुझे वो क्रिएटिव फ्लो मिलेगा, एक फ्रीडम मिलेगा कि मैं अपने जैसा मैं सोचता हूँ उस तरह के मैं डिलीवरेबल्स दे सकता हूँ, राइट. आई कैन क्रिएट डिज़ाइंस द वे आई वांट.
Right.
बट देन टू एन एक्सटेंट आई थिंक डिज़ाइन भी प्रोसेस ओरिएंटेड है, राइट. सो what is your perception about डिज़ाइन में प्रोसेस होना चाहिए कि नहीं?
ओके सो मतलब जब भी यू आर असाइंड अ प्रोजेक्ट इन डिज़ाइन ऐसा जो भी होता है लॉट ऑफ टाइम इन रियल केस सिनेरियोज आई मीन देर इज अ रीजन वी हैव टू सिनेरियोज आइडियल सिनेरियो एंड वन इज रियल केस सिनेरियो. Ideal is like whatever your mind goes and real is like where lot of these factors play into it, like you might have budget constraints, you might have some external constraints वैसा. So what I think कि what design is apart from any other like stream is design is not structured. Like it doesn't have to be structured. That is the advantage of it. Because engineering में क्या है, like for example if you want to build a ladder to like climb somewhere ऐसा, you need to know कि ladder किसके लिए है, you need to know कि वो जो मतलब जो platform है actually step on it कितना heavy होना चाहिए, कितना sturdy होना चाहिए.
Okay.
It should not fall as soon as you like climb on the first rung, right? So engineering follows every step. Design can have different approaches. So like design में क्या है, so let's say कि you are using ladder to go from ground floor to first floor. Engineering will क्या tell you like if you don't have a budget, दो लकड़ी का फले ले लो and just put rungs onto it and चढ़ो.
Okay.
If you have lots of budget, they'll probably give you something like सीढ़ी बना दो ऐसा. If you are some millionaire ऐसा like देखो कि lift बना दो. Design क्या है? So design has the freedom to like go crazy. Like it will not take into. I mean, it has the freedom to not consider about any of those external things. Like you might not need to know कि budget क्या है. You just want to go from नीचे to ऊपर ऐसा. You can come up with different case scenarios. मतलब like you can also come up with like कोई तो slide रहेगा, you just climb on the slope ऐसा. So I mean, end result would be the same. Maybe the same, may or not be the same. Your end result can be very different things. So for example, your end result can be, I don't know, maybe like there's a fan नीचे and you just like fan पे चढ़ के like skydiving वगैरह होता है with all those wingsuit and all. Design can do that. वो feasible है या नहीं, who knows?
Right.
But there is a way to do it. Okay. So design is an exploratory stuff. Design will give you a lot of options. But आगे जाके engineering जो है, the process, the main चीज like the thing that tells you कि ये feasible है या नहीं, that's where it will like just cut short all of your other options.
Okay.
So that's what I feel कि मतलब design may not always need to follow a procedure, because if you follow a procedure in design, then you may be limiting yourself to it कि like इतना ही हो सकता है. And I'll tell you one thing. Personally, like according to my personality, when like I mean I don't do really well in this case of thing. Like matlab there's a part of me something that always thinks in a very reality and a very feasible way that I think it's unique for me, because even if I come up with different designs, at the end I would know कि feasible
What
है
do
या
you
नहीं.
mean by
So what do I mean by it is like, okay, so there was a project that I did in my college. It was a very exploratory, it was the first project that I had when I went into college in our introduction lectures.
Okay.
So we had to design a stage for a music fest, and the criteria was कि it should be accessible to people as well as to specially able persons.
Okay.
and उसके लिए our class was split into around 5-6 groups, and
Okay.
my group had around 5-6 people in it. So ये था, and what happened was कि like I was the only engineer in it, and like since I have done like a lot of sound wala things in my engineering college, like I have set up stage for artists and all, I have basic idea of how it works.
Right.
So the brief was कि you want to build a stage for a music show that is happening next year, and you want to make it accessible even for specially abled persons. ये हम लोग का brief था, and we had the creative freedom for it. So the team that I had were like I was the only engineer in it, and if I remember correctly जब teams बन रहे थे ना, the professor asked कि तुम लोग में से engineers कौन है. हम लोग 7 engineers हम लोग खड़े हो गए थे, and there was one condition, एक group में एक ही engineer रहेगा.
Why so?
I don't know why so, but I think I can guess the reason why so. I will tell you in a bit. So क्या हुआ था कि so he told you okay, अगर 7 engineers है तो 7 ग्रुप बनेंगे.
Okay.
So वैसे वैसे ग्रुप्स बन गए थे.
So like एक design related project में भी
हाँ.
engineering was the
Yeah, was the
core of it.
Yeah, was the core of it, yes.
Okay.
Because groups बने थे depending on the कितने engineers थे वो ऐसा. And then when we were into like split into groups, we were उसके बाद हम लोग को brief मिला था कि मतलब ये है design करो, and we had a duration of 1 day for it.
Okay.
So when we were just brainstorming ideas, so one of the idea that like I heard from someone is कि we'll have the concert in a stadium, because stadium is like it's like people can see from all the sides जैसा. So उधर like बीचों के बीच we can have a stage that will keep on rotating ताकि सब लोग देख सके. It should not be कि मतलब एक बीच में वो perform करे and then जो पीछे जो लोग बैठे हैं they'll just see their backs. This is not a good like experience. So what they can do is इतना like imagine a typical cricket stadium, बीचों बीच जहाँ पे pitch है वहाँ पे you have the stage जो घूमता रहेगा, and everyone in the like stands can observe the concert. अगर वो stage कम रहेगा then people can also be on the field itself.
He has got a curious brain, man.
Yeah.
I would say. I mean, totally. Like I can't even imagine a cricket stadium जो ऐसा rotate हो रहा होगा. Imagine लोगों के faces में sixes पड़ रहे होंगे. Who knows?
Yeah. So also ये था, and what so while the ideas were brainstorming, I was just thinking how feasible it would be, like for someone who has actually plugged in your mic and all into the amplifiers and into the sound speakers. I was thinking from the implementation side, कि if there was a stage that was rotating, it would probably not be good for the band members as well for the as well for the audience, because while it on paper it sounds good, in reality it might not be that well. So that's like that one activity was the best example of how different designers and engineers think. So if you did not have any constraints in the thinking process, then you might not have come up with an idea for this.
Got it.
What you might have come up with an idea कि मतलब like stage रहेगा, किसी एक part में you can have the band, and जो बाकी का जो stadium है उधर audience रहेंगे, and we have those shows today as well. But the idea of placing the band members in center of the like stadium and उसके बाजू में लोग रहे, like that is something that only designers can think about it.
So now we have bit diverted from like how you can make an experience for anyone, but this goes in a spatial design direction.
Yeah, it goes into
we would love to have more conversation on spatial design. Maybe we'll bring more people from spatial design industry and talk about how it affects user experience altogether. Right? So yeah.
So yeah, I mean like in this example, I intentionally left those things out because they were not relevant to it. I was just showing ki how different like they think as so if I was active part in that brainstorming process, I would have tell them at first only कि like there is no way you can have a stage that is rotating enough, because उतना equipment का kit costs like that is super heavy, that costs a lot, and to have it rotating for like at least 2-3 hours, it's not financially possible.
Okay.
So when you bring these external things into design now, that's where I think that design gets limited. So let's say if you get your design through some workflow in it, I guess that really constricts the possibility of design.
Okay.
So for me, I don't think I can work like isolated. Like I can just I can think about design like as a very exploratory thing. I'm trying to take design in that way, but for me as of now, it's not there like where I like to be. So this is a unique position that I think I have an advantage of, because not only I can think like not only I can brainstorm because of my curiosities, I can also see कि मतलब जो ideas आ रहा है how easily are they implementable. And in the end, like what the people actually want is to implement something, is to change something, right? So they would obviously like something that is easily implementable. Like people on usual, they hate change.
Right, right.
So even if like Zomato changes their UI, they're like कि क्या उन लोगों ने UI बनाया, पहले से क्या
Right.
problem था ऐसा.
Even if it's like way too appealing, visually
हाँ.
appealing, अच्छा लग रहा है, but then again you don't want इतना
Yeah,
frequent change.
you don't want this. And
Right, हाँ.
मतलब like, so for day to day users, for daily users, they will not care कि मतलब like what are the heuristics, what are the aesthetics of it, कि उनका ये बटन का राउंडेड कितना है. They don't care. Like as long as your food is getting ordered, delivered, they really don't care. वैसा.
Got it.
So that's where the logical and like the logical and the rational brain of the engineers come into the picture. Because like I never thought I would say this, but in a way, in this particular case, engineers can also be a good empaths as well.
मतलब अब जैसे डिजाइन हर फील्ड में जा रहा है, it's like an important aspect in any business domain these days. और मुझे ये भी पता है कि you're like a hardcore gamer भी, right? Games में भी UX improve हो रहा है.
Yeah.
So what do you think कि as UX designers उनका gaming industry में क्या importance है?
So as like gaming industry जो है, the segment of gaming that exist, it is highly developing. बहुत सारे लोग gaming पे जा रहे हैं. And even the demography of people who are into games, like maybe computer games, maybe even your mobile handheld console games, वो बढ़ते जा रहे हैं. And while I don't play games on mobile and all, I know the people who play games on the consoles and desktops. So the people that play, like what I can say is like they are very nitpicky about it. Like I mean, if you come across someone who like proper games on a desktop or something, you can guarantee that like that guy would know each and everything, like what his computer has, like from RAM, from graphic card, etc. So
Right,
I think they are very specific people and they want that level of experiences, etc. And considering the games that are
Is it like कि मैंने इतना पैसा इन्वेस्ट किया है अपने कंप्यूटर में, तो मुझे उस लेवल का ग्राफिक या इन गेम एक्सपीरियंस चाहिए?
It's not always that way. It's always like, see, at the end of the day, you want to get a money's worth, right?
Right.
But there also.
So I'm trying to think from a user's perspective.
Huh.
Like since I'm not a gamer, sorry for that. But
it's fine.
Like if I'm investing like 4 or 5 lakhs on my PC, I want the value. मुझे उस लेवल के गेम्स खेलने हैं भाई.
Yeah.
मुझे चाहिए कि मेरा गेम मुझे वो एक्सपीरियंस दे. Right.
So the thing, like the difference is that you are paying more amount of money in upgrading a setup. That does not guarantee that you will get good games. You are just paying that amount of money so that you will probably see like 100 different frames per second in like 100 frames in a second, and you pay a bit more. You pay a lot more to see 120 frames per second. Essentially, you are just paying the game. You're just paying to see the pixels more clearly and to get them more refreshed फटाफट से. Like
So
that's what you are
ये
paying.
refresh rate से भी एक्सपीरियंस में डिफरेंस आता है क्या?
Yes, बहुत आता है difference. Because like the satisfaction part of the gamers that have like lot of them have very different reasons of getting their money's worth from these games ऐसा है. And basically games भी जो है, like if you're into competitive games and all, वहाँ पे user experience counts a lot because you are basically investing hours of your life in a game, and if you don't get that good amount of experience, it's not worth it. Like I remember like बहुत सारे games में है. So like there's some visual part as well, like games है, so it's more of a visual experience and user experience. So in this case, UI and UX play very close roles, because when the game is a touch point, the screen is your interaction ka way, right? So like in this case, your UI and UX like go hand in hand together ऐसा. So बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि मतलब like you are in heat of a moment and then like some bad experience can like just mess up the game ऐसा, mess up the game for you. So different games, different reason to mess up ऐसा. But abhi like there are too many use cases. But yeah, I mean the bottom line is that in gaming industry you do need good UX, because if you're into competitive industry, if you're into competitive gaming, then after a game, like even if you lose, you want to at least enjoy that thing कि मतलब okay like I lost it but ठीक है मतलब like I had
So
fun.
is it the competitiveness of the gaming जिसमें जिसकी वजह से लोगों को better experience चाहिए or just for the fun sake? If I'm investing hours and hours
हाँ
of my life into gaming, तो
हाँ so competitiveness तो है ही like मतलब it is the belief that they can play I mean the mistakes that it did in this game they will not repeat in the next game.
so in a way like users are much more aware of these experiences of
हाँ yes so in
Okay.
competitive games like users know where things go wrong.
because like gaming maybe there was a time when all of us we used to play counter strike and मतलब तब आई डोंट थिंक इतना विजुअल हैवी कुछ भी होता था बट देन वो छोटा सा कॉन्सेप्ट भी मुझे तो बहुत पसंद था पर्सनली एंड देन आई मिस दो सी एस गो वाला टाइम अभी भी
Right.
बट आई एम नॉट श्योर अभी गेमिंग इंडस्ट्री में क्या चल रहा है देन बिकॉज बहुत सारी कन्वर्सेशन हो रही गेमिंग इंडस्ट्री और यूएक्स की जो आई एम जस्ट क्यूरियस टू नो कि ऐसा चेंज क्यों आ रहा है
So, okay, so I'll tell you one thing. The thing that you mentioned, CS wala thing. So Counter Strike 1.6 जो था, the previous version of Counter Strike, that उसमें you had to like in every round of Counter Strike, like obviously you have to buy guns as well, and you have to buy bullets for the guns. In CS 1.6, you have to buy bullets separately.
ओके
In CS:GO, you don't need to buy bullets. There is no way to buy more bullets ऐसा. So that's an experience change. So like in the heat of the moment, you just buy a gun, you forget to buy bullets,
ओके
and you like go in a very like it's a very intense match, and then like you just need one click to win it, and then you don't have bullets. So that I mean like people get enraged at that. So some people think ki it is good because it provides an additional skill ka layer to it. Then there are some people who think it is bakwas because who in their sane mind will only just buy guns.
राइट राइट
So CS:GO did this thing where they just removed the bullets ka part. So in a way that was a big UX change because while it was a very small part of the game, उसके आगे जाके it became a very lot like it kind of changed the whole game का mechanics. So अभी CS:GO भी अभी like बंद हुआ है like you have CS2 now.
Right,
It also has tons of different improvements into it. Not improvements, I say changes into it because that game is like just basics of the game.
काफी
ऐसा
इंटरेस्टिंग
है.
लग रहा है लाइक
हाँ.
मैं लाइक आई वांट लाइक if anyone from gaming industry who is working in the UX domain I want you guys to come up and I would love to have a conversation whole soul conversation on gaming and UX right काफी इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक है anyways thanks for giving us your time Kaustubh
Thank you so much. I
He's
had fun.
a interesting guy to have on the podcast. Maybe थोड़ा nerdy होगा, but then I think a lot of engineers would be able to relate with Kaustubh. I was able to relate. That's it.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you so much.
Kaustubh. AKA the KK.